Hello and welcome to the show, a show in which a bit later we'll be making an announcement about a brave new venture for the Bike Show team. We'll also be taking a look at a couple of new products we've been using over the last few weeks, including a rucksack that's also a back protector. But first, let's talk Suzuki. I'm sure most of you have noticed that I'm stood by this, the GSX-R1000, the legendary flagship of the Suzuki range. And I'm almost equally sure that most of you haven't noticed this shrinking violet in the background here, and that's because, well, it's just a run-of-the-mill, medium-sized naked bike. Except it isn't. Yeah, okay, it is quite run-of-the-mill in terms of the ingredients, but for Suzuki and for us, this is one of their most important models. And why is that? Well, they've managed to sell nearly 200,000 of this model since it was first introduced back in 1999. And the reason for that was obvious. It was simple, it did all the boring things right, like affordability and practicality, but it managed to mix it with a massive amount of V-twin fun. And so, with a huge sales success on its hands, Suzuki did the obvious thing and dropped the model. And replaced it with something called the Gladius, which is a rubbish name for a bike that was all right, but still it wasn't an SV650. So, at least it only took Suzuki about 7 or 8 years to rectify the mistake, and at last, they've given us back what we all wanted in the first place, the SV650. Thing is, in all that time, did they forgot what make it good in the first place? Have they given us what we really want, or have they messed it all up? Those ingredients I was talking about really are pretty simple. A steel trellis frame holds a 645cc V-twin that at 75 horsepower has a useful handful more than it used to have. There's a new set of wheels, and the Nissin braking system has been updated as well, making it lighter in the process. The styling has been tweaked a bit too, with a new shape to what little bodywork there is, and there's a set of digital clocks with a surprising amount of information stuffed into them. Beginners and anyone not destined for the NBA will appreciate the lowest seat in class at 785 millimeters. Beginner or experienced, the SV650 has always been popular because it's just so useful for commuting, or at least it used to be. No problems here at all whatsoever, because even in heavy morning commuting traffic, the SV is what it always was, which is just so easy to ride. It's light, physically small, the clutch is super light, the gearbox is snickety-slick smooth. It's even got something called low RPM assist, apparently, which means because it's a V-twin, it can stall a bit easier than normal, but no, it's even got that covered. It's just the perfect partner for doing this really humdrum day-to-day stuff. But it's also fun. So, it's got the boring commuter bit nailed, but to be a true successor to the original SV, it's got to be entertaining when the road opens up and encourages you to forget the speed limit for a while. Right, well, there's only one way to test that then, isn't there? And that's to regress a little bit, behave like a teenager, and ride this thing like I stole it. You see, that's why the SV650 was such an instant hit from the very beginning. The engine is an absolute gem. I don't think you'll find any better middleweight twin. The fact that it's a V really helps it be punchy. It's got a really useful top end. You bounce into the rev limiter, it looks like about 10,500 RPM. It's just an absolute gem. And it doesn't hurt that you sound like Chaz Davies in a World Superbike race. 75 horsepower may not sound like much, but it's so accessible thanks to a fantastically smooth gearbox that makes you thrash up and down through the ratios like a demented Moto3 racer.
Okay then, next test, something the SV was always good at, corners. And believe it or not, we have one of the very few roads in Gauteng that has got a couple of corners. So let's see if I fall off. Series of lefts and rights, it's just so easy. This is what sports bikes should always be like. A corner is not a thing to be feared, it's a thing to be welcomed. And this SV, well, it lays the welcome mat out for anything resembling a corner because it bloody well loves them.
I may only have spent a short time with the new SV650, but it's enough to know that the legend is back. It's better than ever and ready to convert a new generation of fans.
He's back. So did you enjoy it?
That was fantastic. I have to tell you, gentlemen, that, without any exaggeration at all, is a brilliant motorbike. Not even good, not even great, it's brilliant.
It's funny, isn't it, how the most unassuming bikes, often the best, we get most excited about them.
Yeah, I know, big super bikes, you always feel like you never really ride in them, don't you?
Do you
But
remember the
this-
Suzuki at that 4-bike launch that we attended? I said then, we had G6R1000s, DL6, I said I enjoyed that the most.
It's utterly, utterly fantastic. That's
Well,
all I can say.
let's cut to the chase then. Let's get the Iron Horse spec board up.
Put me on the spot.
First of all, price.
98,000 rand.
That's not a lot of money.
That's amazing, isn't
That's
it?
not a lot of money, is it?
And you're going to say 8 out of 10.
Yeah, it's got to be an 8 out of 10.
You know what? 9.5.
Seriously.
9.5.
Well,
Seriously.
it's almost perfect for what it does. It's meant to be an entry-level beginner's motorcycle that has got a little bit extra for the experienced rider, and it does everything that it's supposed to do, and it does it cheaper than the competition as well. You look at all the competition, you've got everything from Honda's NC750,
Yeah.
really worthy.
Stop it. Okay, you got the Yamaha MT-07.
Well, that Honda's more expensive. The MT-07's more expensive. I'm not even sure they're bringing it into South Africa at the moment, but I did have a look on Auto Trader. There are 1 or 2 dealers selling new ones.
Yeah.
Again, you're looking 110 grand plus, really.
And then there is one other.
You've got the
Z650.
Kawasaki, yeah, Z650, very similar price. That's a parallel twin, as are the other twins. This is a V, and you just don't find a V very
the
often at
Vs,
this
they
size.
are different. I mean,
They
they,
are
should be,
different.
but they just are.
This engine is unbelievable. The fueling is perfect, the delivery is perfect everywhere, and there's plenty of power. No, I can't get over it. 9.5 out of 10.
Where did
heck.
Where did it lose its half?
I don't know if this is because I'm old, but
Well, yeah, it is.
Probably is, yeah.
the seat is an absolute plank, and I don't understand why
Really?
they've done that.
It looks nicely shaped,
It
though.
does
I mean,
look like, well, maybe my bottom's not nicely shaped.
Well, it's
but
not, no.
No, there's not a lot of padding in there. And maybe, to add to the extra half off, there's a nice blue stripe down the tank, but it's not symmetrical.
Really?
Yeah. No, I'm joking. I think it's probably meant to be stylish like that. It just irritates me. Now, overall, an utterly fantastic bike, and it does that amazing thing, which is to bridge the gap. Yes, it is a beginner's bike because it's easy to ride, it's really light, but it's also a bike, if you already know how to ride, you can have a hoot. It's a sport bike,
We are
isn't it?
getting more of these. Beginner bike, but can we have one too?
Yes, absolutely. What better recommendation can you have for a bike than that?